Hi everyone, I'm Jackie and welcome to my channel, Cherished Memories Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet these cute little cup coasters. They don't take long at all to make and they would make a great Christmas present. Christmas isn't even a month away now. These are about, I used a 5mm hook and they're about 7 inches wide. So if you wanted a smaller one, use a smaller hook. So we'll get started. I'm starting with my off-white for the middle. Do a slip knot. We're going to chain 3. And we're going to slip stitch into that very first chain we did. And now we're going to chain 3. This acts as our first double crochet. And now we're going to go right back in the middle of that. The middle of that chain 3. And we're going to do 11 double crochets. So that will be a total of 12. Oops, that's 5. I'm almost done. 11 and 12. And I always check to make sure. Okay. Now we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. Just like that. Now chain 3, and this will act as your first double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch. So we're going to go right back in there and do another double crochet. What I'm going to do for this one is, in this one I went under both loops, and it just, you can see it's just normal stitching, but when you go in the back loop, you're going to get, like right here, you're going to get a little line. Adds more detail. So I'm going to do that. So you can go through both loops and it will look like this one, or you can go through the back loop like I'm getting ready to do. Okay, so we did 2 double crochets in that first stitch. So now we're going to do 2 in the next one, and I'm only going through that back loop. Just like that. And your yarn's going to look like it's pulling, but it will straighten up and there won't be a gap when you get finished. So go ahead and continue this round with 2 double crochets, and you can either do what I'm doing and go through the back loop, or just go through both of them like that. And I'll meet you at the end of the round. Okay, I'm at the end of my round. You should have 24 double crochets. And as you can see, this is starting to, you can see the detail a little bit better. Okay, so now we'll start round 3. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 there. Chain 3. That's your first double crochet. We're going to go right back in there and do another double crochet. It's kind of hard in that first stitch to go through the back loop because it's a chain 3, so you don't have to worry about it there. Okay, so there's 2 double crochets, and in the next one we're going to do 1 double crochet, and in the next one we're going to do 2. And in the next one we're going to do 1 double crochet. So that's your pattern for this row. You're going to do You started out with 2 double crochets, then in the next stitch 1, and in the next stitch 2, then 1, and continue that pattern until you get to the end of the row, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm at the end of row 3. I have 36 double crochets. Now we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. We're going to go ahead and chain 3 again. We're going to go right back into that same stitch and do a double crochet. Now in the next stitch we're going to do 1 double crochet, and in the next one only 1, and then the next one we're going to do 2, and in the next 2 stitches we're only going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch. So that's your pattern for this row. You're going to start out with 2 double crochets, and then a double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So double crochet, or 2 double crochets, double crochet, double crochet. So continue that same pattern for this row, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I'm done. You should have 48 double crochets at the end of your row. 1, 2, 3, we're at the end of our 4th row. So now we're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do single crochets in every stitch around. If you're going to do the embroidery stitch here, go through both loops, well, chain 1, oops, and we're do our single crochets. But if you're going to do that embroidery look, you're going to need to go through both loops. And if you're not going to do that and you've been doing the just back loop, you can go ahead and continue with just your back loop. But I'm going to do the embroidery stitch, so I'm going to go through both of my loops, because you're going to need this kind of like little hole here to do that stitch. So go ahead and do your single crochet in every stitch around, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I'm back. I finished all my single crochets. If your coaster is curling up, don't worry about it. It will correct itself. Okay, so now we're going to, this is our chain 1 we did. Just go over that and go into our first single crochet. So skip the chain 1 and go on top of that first single crochet and do a slip stitch. Chain 1, pull your work, and we'll cut it. And I'm going to use a gray color. I'm doing it for my kitchen, and my kitchen is gray. And go ahead and go into any single crochet, or yeah, the single crochet. And doesn't matter which one. Attach your yarn. Just like that. I'm going to insert my hook, bring up a loop. And you're going to chain 2. And you're going to go right back into that same stitch and do a half double. Just like that. And now in the same stitch, we're going to do 2 doubles. There's 1. And there's 2. Now we're going to go right back in that same one and do a half double. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch right back into that same stitch, just like that. I'll do one more with you. Okay, we're going to skip this next stitch though, and we're going to go over to the next one. So skip the next one and go in the next stitch and slip stitch into it. Now we're going to chain 2. We're going to go right back in that same stitch and do a half double. Go right back in it and do 2 double crochets. There's 1. There's my second one. We're going to And go right back into it and do a half double. Now we're going to chain 2 and slip stitch right back into that same stitch, just like that. So they're kind of close where they're going to overlap and give it a nice little effect. So that's go ahead and do that. Skip 1, and then the next one do slip stitch into it and chain 2, then do a half double crochet, 2 double crochets, another half double crochet, then chain 2 and slip stitch into it. I'll go ahead and do one more with you. Okay, I've already slip stitched and I already skipped 1 from this last that we did. Skip 1, slip stitch into the next one, chain 2, and now I'm going to do a half double. And now 2 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and a half double, and a chain 2, and slip stitch right back in that same stitch. So you got a chain 2, a half double, 2 double crochets, a half double, a chain 2, and then you're going to slip stitch right back into that same stitch. Skip the next stitch, and then do your half double, your chain 2, half double, 2 doubles, and half double, chain 2, and slip stitch right back in that same stitch, and continue that same pattern to the end of the row here, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm at the end of my row. You should have 25 sets of these. And now we've got 1 stitch left. We're going to skip that. And we're going to go, well, I'm all tangled up here. We're going to go right over here to where we did our first one. And we're going to slip stitch into that. Just like that. Now we're going to chain 1, pull our yarn, and cut it. And this is what we should have so far. And if you did your back loops, it should look like this. You can see the little design. And here's the one where I went through both loops. So it's just a matter of preference, which one you like the best. Okay, so now this next step is optional. You don't have to do it. But I kind of like to do it. Kind of gives it a, I don't know, a vintage look. Okay, so you can use any color, but I like to use what I used on the border. So it doesn't matter where you start. Insert your hook. Pull your yarn up. Let's see. Give enough tail back there so it doesn't come through, because you don't have to knot it right now. Pull up a loop like that. Okay. Now we're going to go into that next space. So you can see your space there. Insert your hook. Pull up a loop, just like that. Now we're going to slip stitch it, just like that. I'll try to get closer to the camera. Okay, go in your next single crochet space. It's where you kind of left a little hole. Let me pull that yarn back there. Okay. So insert your hook, just like that. Pull up a loop. I got 2 loops on your hook, and just slip stitch it, just like that. Go in the next one, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and slip stitch it. So you're starting to get that like embroidery look. And go ahead and continue that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round and show you how to cut it off. Okay, I'm at the end of my round. So I've done my last slip stitch here. And here's where we started. We're going to go ahead, let's see, and go ahead and go into the hole where we first started and make that your last slip stitch. Just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut our yarn, leave a little tail for weaving in, and now you're just going to pull your yarn through, just like that. Okay, now we're going to go to that first one over here, and you're going to come up through it like that, right in the middle of that. Get your yarn. And you can also use a tapestry needle if that's easier. And just, that's what I usually use, but I didn't bring one to the table with me. And just bring your yarn through it, just like that. That's how you attach it to the end. So it should look like that. So now you're going to flip it. So now your end and your front will be together. And go ahead and tie it now. I like to do a double knot. And then now all I have to do is just weave in my ends under here. And I'm done, except for what I like to do is I like to take these and kind of overlap them. It just makes it prettier, and just go all the way around. This is I think a nice gift. I'll have to weave that in too. And they work up really quick. Okay. You might have to stretch it to flatten it out. And that's what it should look like. Fast and easy, and it's very cute, I think. And I hope you enjoyed my tutorial today. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so you don't miss any of my future videos. And hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.